Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here, and I'm bringing you a review on The Strain, Season 1, Episode 2, The Box. And, wow, this show is really impressive to me so far. And I was reading IGN's review on it, and on this episode, and it really bugs me when they complain about the slower parts of the show, and like they even said, oh, they should just take out the ex-wife and the son characters. Oh, I hope the ex-wife just gets custody of the son so we don't have to see those characters again. And it really bugs me when all these fans keep on complaining about the slower parts of the show that are meant to be, character, building parts. It's only the second episode. What do you expect? Like everything to be action-packed week in and week out without it getting, without it like taking away from the moments that are actually like that, or without it, becoming too much of a unrelatable show as far as the characters go. And I really just hate when people complain about the slower episodes or the slower scenes. And yeah, just one of those things that really bugs me. Okay, anyway, mini rant over. This week's episode was a little bit slower than the series premiere last week, but I still thought it was a fairly good episode for sure. There wasn't quite as much that happened, but a lot of interesting things that are building up for no question. Like the four survivors from the plane, the rock star, the lawyer, and the couple others, the pilot, and I forget the other one, but oh yeah, the girl. Wait, no, she didn't survive, but you know who I mean. The four survivors, rockstar, lawyer, and stuff. They start exhibiting, little symptoms of slowly becoming, vampires. They don't know that, of course, but we see the rockstar. I think his name's like Gabriel. I could be wrong or something, but the rockstar, he is trying to have sex with these two women. Then he actually bites one of them on the neck. And then, that freaks the two of them out. Then they, get out of there. And then we see him, go on the floor and, start licking and drinking up the blood and things like that. So that's pretty creepy for sure. So there's that. So I'm sure we'll see him progress more and more. And that was another really creepy thing about this week's episode. We see a little girl that arrived home to her father last week. Her father has her in the bathtub. He's trying to give her a bath, and eventually the girl just it's really freaky. She just comes up, and that thing that comes out of their mouth, like the tongue type of thing, just injects into his neck, and it's pretty brutal. And he gets taken out, just falls into the tub, and yeah, so a pretty brutal scene. But we kind of knew that was going to happen. And I really like the way they have the eyes look for the infected too. I mean, before they fully turn into vampires anyway. It's pretty cool. And her hair was starting to fall out a little bit and stuff, so I'm guessing most of them become pretty mutated as they further along with vampirism. And okay, so that's another thing. Then we see Abraham is sitting in jail, and he gets a visit from one of the vampires who is setting up the whole Return of the Master thing. I forget his name, but I'm looking that up right now. Okay, so Abraham gets a visit from Thomas, I believe his name is. And, it is, because I just looked it up. And they have a pretty interesting conversation. We get more of a sense that Abraham has stopped what they're trying to do right now before. Or at least stopped, another thing they had going down quite a while ago. And Thomas tells Abraham that he will die, and the last thing he sees will be the Master's eyes. And so, that was pretty threatening, I'd say. And then Thomas also calls Abraham a number, I forget what the exact number was, but it reminded me of a concentration camp as a way to, keep track of all the people they had there during the Holocaust and things like that. If you guys have read up on who the characters are supposed to be, we know that Abraham is a Holocaust survivor, and we're actually supposed to be getting flashbacks to him being put into concentration camp at some point. So my early theory is that Thomas might have been one of the Nazis during the Holocaust, and he was actually at the camp that Abraham was in. So that's my theory, and that's why Thomas would, call Abraham that number. But I could be wrong, but I think it'd be a pretty good way to go. Let's see, so there's that. That was pretty good. I really don't want to miss anything here, and I don't know, my personal favorite part of the show was actually when we got to see Ephraim, Goodweather. We got to see Goodweather visit his son and his ex-wife again, and they're talking about the custody and things like that. And Goodweather promises his son that he's going to show up on time and that he's the most important person in his life. And so I thought it was pretty touching personally. And then we got to see Goodweather go to an AA meeting, for his alcohol problems. And, you'd see a really well acted scene from Corey Stoll as Goodweather here, when he talked about, how he completely screwed up his life with his ex-wife, and how he can't lose his son. He can't let him down like he thinks he could. And so, yeah, I'm getting some of the wording wrong here, but you guys know what scene I'm talking about. I thought it was a really well acted scene from Stahl as Goodweather, and again, it's one of those slower character moments I really enjoy, but a lot of people seem to just be like, oh yeah, let's just skip that part and get, right to the vampire action, in the second episode of the entire series. Yeah, we expect all that to happen right now. But really, I appreciate and I enjoy these character-driven moments. I think I liked it. I'm liking Goodweather's character so far. I like him a lot. I'm thinking he's showing a lot of personality and different things like that. And I find him pretty relatable right now. So I actually care about what happens to his family, personally. And let's see, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, and we've seen the debut of Kevin Durand's character. His name is, let's see, Baisley. I can't pronounce his name, but he's a rat exterminator. He sounds like he has like a Ukrainian accent or something like that, or the character's of Ukrainian descent. And we see him sort of go to a restaurant and take it down because he finds dead rats in there and different things like that. And it happens to be the same restaurant that the rock star and the lawyer and the other infected were talking about what was happening there. So we see him, taking care of a cat and things like that. So yeah, we didn't really see him get involved too much with the main storyline, other than like being unknowingly in the same area as some of the infected. But I'm sure we'll see him get more involved as the series goes on. And so yeah, that's pretty decent as far as what they were trying to do with that anyway, even though it wasn't too much yet. And we definitely have to talk about this. We've seen our first glimpse of the Master. We've seen the guy who's bringing the box to where Thomas was and different things like that. We've seen him try to look at it, then it started like shaking and stuff, and so the guy took off. And then we've seen Aldrich Palmer, the older guy who's pretty close to dying. He tells us that he was promised some kind of deal. I'm guessing the deal was that they turn him into a vampire, as a way of keeping him alive and also maybe more power. And I'm sure it would help the vampires if they had someone like him of influence and riches and things like that. Then we see Eldritch. He sees the Master come out of the box, and we only see the Master for a few seconds from behind, and Master is like a mutated, shaven kind of head from what we could tell, and then he has like these bigger claws and hands and things like that. So yeah, the Master, the way Eldritch looked at him, it seemed like the Master's gonna be pretty, demonic looking, or further along in his far further along in his vampirism than anyone else on the show. Because he's been around for how many years? Just centuries, decades. Maybe hundreds of years. Who knows? And so I'm really excited to see more of the Master. Little by little. I think they're building up at a slow pace, but a good pace. I think it's a fine way of building it that I was expecting. I didn't expect this one to be quite as jam-packed as the premiere episode, but I thought it was a great character building episode, a great way of building up to what's going to come in the later episodes. And really, though, I think people just need to appreciate the slower character-driven moments a little bit more, like the Corey Stahl Goodweather moments with the alcohol abuse and the with his family and his son and different things like that. I just think people should really enjoy those moments more. So yeah, it's really the main things that happened in this week's episode. I thought it was pretty solid again, and I'm really looking forward to the series continuing. I'll definitely be tuning in week after week. And the ratings, I just wanted to say the ratings for the show so far haven't been mind-blowing. Like the series premiere got about 2.99 million viewers, and this week's episode got about 2.80 million viewers. So yeah, it's not an incredibly high rating so far, but I was looking at Fargo's rating, which was also on FX, and both episodes of The Strain so far have had higher ratings. Like Fargo hardly ever got over 2 million. So I think The Strain deserves a lot more viewers. I'm hoping it catches on to a lot more people, because I really, really want to see this show go on for as many years as they want to, like they said, 5 seasons or so. But I really hope this show finds the success it wants, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. I like Goodweather a lot, I like Abraham, and can't wait to see where it goes and what happens. So I'll catch you guys next time. I may be doing another review on next week's episode as well, so I'll see you guys then. And peace.